Alright folks, we have come back, and thanks to these three for helping me out. Let's start case 22 of Mysteries of the Past, Overkill. I also am pretty sick, so bear with me. Matthew, we've uncovered a gruesome secret in Sinner's End. Someone is murdering ladies of the night. The press has already named them the Scarlet Slayer. The ladies at the brothels in Sinner's End are convinced the Slayer is Italian, despite the fact they have no real proof. Understanding that Sinner's End is Irish territory, the Italians could be trying to undermine the Irish stronghold in this part of town. The two factions have always hated each other. If this is true, there won't be much stopping the two factions from plunging the city into a bloody gang war, but I do hope it doesn't get to that point. I agree, Matthew. If someone is going around slaughtering defenseless women, we cannot let them be. Since ladies of the night tend to work in the park, we should start our investigation there. But the Mid-Pac Open is kind of like our Masters in Hawaii. So, as a professional, I think this is one of those... Bear with me, folks. I am trying to get better. You want to win the Mid-Pac Open at least one time. First group gets going at 6:30 tomorrow morning. But I have been sick since Saturday. Really, really sick. Houston got 35 points from James Harden today. OKC got 51 from Russell Westbrook. Holy cow. He had 13 assists and 10 rebounds for his 6th postseason triple-double. The Rockets trailed by as many as 15 points and didn't take the lead until the fourth quarter. Now up 2 games to none, so they won today, 115 to 111. And in the other game out west, Golden State destroyed the Blazers. There we go. 110 to 81. They go up 2 games. The Wizards beat Atlanta. Not going to get the first star. Oh well. The final in Washington, D.C. today. What pans out in the negotiation? Dash my wig, Matthew. That's a dead body by the bridge. The victim's face shows apparent signs of poisoning, which doesn't leave much doubt as to the cause of death, and that means this man was murdered. Talking about his face, I recognize him. It's Joseph Bones Dante. He's part of the Italian gang. Is that a paper bag pinned onto our victim's body? Sweet mother of pearl, it's a death threat. It's your turn to die, Scarlet Slayer. Matthew, whoever killed our victim believes him to be the Scarlet Slayer. The paper bag the killer wrote their threat on is empty. But let's collect a sample of that stain, Matthew. It will no doubt tell us more about them. As for that box, I'm sure its lock will be no obstacle for you. Matthew, regardless of what our victim may have done, we cannot let his murderer go free. Let's crack this case. And I need to get some stars. So sit tight, everyone. That's right, heat surf heading our way. Out of season swell. We're going to be talking about potential warnings. Be back. Okay, folks, we have come back. I have myself 12 stars. Let's examine the paper bag first. Wow, that was quick. Matthew, let us send the sample you obtained from the killer's death threat to Viola. Alright. Matthew, this box you opened seemed to be some strange contraption. Any idea what it could be? The label on this box says it was prescribed for a victim. There's more text inside, but it's faded. Have a go at it. Maybe it'll tell us what this machine can do.
Matthew, this machine prescribed to the victim is for treating nervous diseases in weak and languid men. According to the instructions, the male patient plugs the metal prongs into the box and then gives an electrical shock to their... Oh, my. To their crotch, I think. Well, Mouthy, how about we find the person who prescribed this for our victim? Let's go find this Theodosia Hayhurst. Moment, folks. I have to spit. Alright, I'm back. Gotta get this over with so I can go sleep. Mrs. Theodosia Hayhurst, I presume? We're investigating the murder of one of your customers, Mr. Joseph Dante. Good heavens, Mr. Dante is dead? Yes, and we must investigate all leads, including this electric shock apparatus we found. Ah yes, the magneto-electric machine. Mr. Dante had been seeking treatment to restore his virility, so I prescribed it for him. However, I cannot tell you anything more. I am bound to discretion under my oath as an apothecary. That's quite alright, Mrs. Hayhurst, but could you tell us more about the man himself? Mr. Dante and his cohorts would frequent my pharmacy. I don't discriminate. I serve Irish and Italians alike. Really? In that case, we're going to need to have a look around your shop. And of course, I have been going through quite a bit with my grandma passing away just this past Monday. I like to think I'm getting better. But this sickness has really hampered me. You can tell it in my voice. I can't even laugh. That's the other problem. Lighter. There we go. Also trying to cough up a lot of phlegm out. That's what's gotten me really sick. But I felt better today. Matthew, those are our victim's initials on that wallet. This must be his. We should have a gander inside for any clues. And judging from the Italian flag on this lighter, it must have belonged to one of his associates. Let us see if we can find its owner. Hopefully I'll be better. Much better by tomorrow. Madame Jang's House of Ladies. Uh-oh. Matthew, that advertisement you found in Mr. Dante's wallet, we've seen it before. It's an advertisement for Madame Zhang's brothel. Word does get around about her services. Considering the ad was on Mr. Dante's person, we can safely assume he was a regular. We know how worried Madame Zhang was about the Scarlet Slayer. We should go speak with her about our victim. Madame Zhang, we meet again. Unfortunately, another one of your clients has been found murdered. Joseph Bones Dante. You come to my place of business and ask me about some dead Italian man, but you don't care to ask about my girls? 3 girls have gone missing. 3. They disappeared into thin air. They're probably dead, but you don't do anything. And this one man is killed and you investigate his death as if it's the most important thing in the world. Where is the justice? This is why we're here. Mr. Dante might have been the Scarlet Slayer. It's imperative you tell us everything you know about him. All I know is that he was Italian, always paid up front, and preferred blondes. That's it. Now please go look for my girl, Senior Trooper Matthew. Scorpion symbol now. After this, I'll really have to transfer my videos. Oh no. Tony the Scorpion. Matthew, that lighter belongs to an Italian gang member, Tony the Scorpion. He acts as the gang's fixer, the one in charge of taking care of all their dirty work. Matthew, what do you say we go find this Mr. Scorpion and show him how we take care of our dirty work? About his relationship with the victim. Tony the Scorpion? We're with the Flying Squad. We're investigating the murder of Joseph Dante. I assume you knew him? Of course I knew Joey. I can't believe they killed him. Che criminali. Joey was a good kid, had a bright future ahead of him, and they had to go and murder him. They? Who's they? Do you know who killed Mr. Dante? Naturalmente. It was those filthy Irish. Who else? The boss sent me to see what happened to Joey. My investigation led me to these Irish truffatori. They killed our guy. If they want war, they're going to get it. There will be no gang wars on our watch, and I urge you not to test me on that. I haven't had a lick of absinthe in weeks. Okay. And that is going to do. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. Okay, folks, we've come back. Let's get the results of the autopsy. Matthew, did you know the use of poison stretches from before 4500 BC to the present day? During the Roman Empire, poisonings at the dinner table were as common as using the lavatory. I presume this history lesson is related to our victim and his poisoning? Exactly. The type of poison used was belladonna. The shiny blackberries are extremely toxic. Interestingly, the victim was stabbed in the back with a blade covered in the poison. This was done so that the substance would enter the bloodstream faster. Belladonna is what killed your victim, Matthew. You have found your murder weapon. So our victim was both stabbed and poisoned to death? That's a bit overkill. You're right, Matthew. If the killer thought Mr. Dante was the Scarlet Slayer, it makes sense they would leave nothing to chance. Indeed, and there's something else you'll find helpful. There were traces of sulfur soap around the victim's wounds, which must have been transferred to him from the killer's blade. So our killer uses sulfur soap. Matthew, they'll be sure to come clean once you've arrested them for the dirty deed of murder. I am trying to get better. My mom says I am sounding better than I have been, although I don't think there's any change in my voice. Matthew, is it true the Scarlet Slayer is dead? It's too soon to be certain, but the threat the killer left indicates as such. Speaking of, what did you discover about the sample we collected from the bag it was written on? This substance was mutton juice. The killer must have used whatever they had on hand to write their threat. In this case, the paper bag they carried their dinner in. This means our killer eats mutton. Matthew, the killer, will have plenty of time to stew in their own juices once they're convicted of murder. Matthew, it seems our hunt for the Scarlet Slayer ended with the death of Joseph Bones Dante. But was he really the Slayer? Our killer seemed to think so. Having both stabbed and poisoned Mr. Dante, they certainly wanted him dead. And even if Mr. Dante isn't the slayer, an Italian man in Irish territory does breed motive for murder. For Madame Jang and Mrs. Hayhurst, Mr. Dante was just another satisfied customer of two different services. Would they kill one of their best clients? And as for Tony the Scorpion, Mr. Dante was one of theirs. He's more interested in retaliation against the person who committed the murder, even if that means waging a war against the Irish. Matthew, I'm wondering if... Matthew, are you hearing this? It sounds like people are fighting. We'll find out what that is in Chapter 2. See you then. Alright, we've come back. Let's start Chapter 2 of Overkill. Matthew, are you hearing this? People are fighting. We must tend to that commotion at once, Matthew. Get out of me neighborhood, you Italian muck snipe. Vial diavolo, Irish scum, or I'll knock your teeth in until you're just gums and blood. Gentlemen, that's enough. You will stop this brawl at once. Cavolo la polizia. Dash it, Tony's run away. He's a right coward, that one, like all these dirty Italians. Yes, but at least you're still here, and that's all we need to sort out this altercation. So let's have a word, Mr. Irishman, shall we? Amon Gilligan is his name, okay. About his fight with Tony. I don't know why you busted me, Senior Trooper Matthew. It's me job to keep Sinner's End free of those filthy pasta eaters. This is our territory. They don't belong here. Oh, so you work for Mad Dog? I'm Mad Dog's leadman, Amon Gilligan. I keep this part of town Irish for him. I was just minding my own business, drinking some neck oil and eating some mutton stew when I see the Scorpion lurking around. So I followed him here to the toilets. And then you attacked him. He got in me face, looking to shake a flannin he was, so I busted him up. Mr. Gilligan, there will be no more busting anyone up on Senior Trooper Matthew's watch. It will serve you well to remember that. I agree, Matthew. Considering these public toilets were the grounds for this fight, this must be a gang war hot zone. We better have a look around. I'm also under a limited energy happy hour. But I doubt I'll be speeding any... But we'll see what happens if I feel like speeding something up. Cool, 6 seconds. Matthew, we'll be lucky if those two brutes haven't destroyed any potential evidence. Considering how close it is to our murder scene, there's a great chance the killer came here before or after the murder. That torn photo could be a vital clue. What do you say about putting it back together? I'm not too keen on digging through a trash bin, but if you insist, I shall roll up my sleeves and dig with you. That's quite the large family, Matthew. You're right, there's our victim, Joseph Dante. And right next to him is Tony, the Scorpion. Come to think of it, I can see the resemblance between the two men. They must be brothers. Excellent observation, Matthew. That is a plate of roasted mutton on the table, which tells us our suspect, Tony Dante, eats mutton just like our killer does. I wish Tony had told us about his brother straight away. Let's go shake him up, Matthew, and he better not run this time. About being the victim's brother. Mr. Tony Dante, you failed to tell us the victim was your brother. We found your family photo. I didn't think it was important. It's not like that was going to help find Joey's murderer. I told Joey to stop coming here, that he'd only get the lot of us in trouble ruffling the Irish's feathers. Idiota. So you were keeping an eye on him? Then you must know if Joseph really was behind those girls' murders. What murders? Joey was a good one, a bit thick, but he wouldn't hurt nobody. Before I go, Senior Trooper Matthew, do you have any sulfur soap? I like to wash this Irish blood off my hands. Bloody knife. My word, that knife you found in the trash has a very strange shape, and it is covered in blood. Which means you were right, Matthew. From the looks of that knife, the killer came here after the murder. There's no time to dawdle, Matthew. Let's get this knife to Viola, post-haste. 12 hours. I'll get the results tomorrow morning. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Okay, folks, I'm back. Let's get the results of the bloody knife. Matthew, this knife you brought me is used for bloodletting, a medical belief that draining one's blood heals the body. There's no way I'd come near one of those, or a leech for that matter. Nonetheless, I confirm the blood on this knife matches that of your victim. And not only that, but the killer left an important clue behind. You see, I found traces of cannabis and the salts of barbituric acid on the knife's handle, elements widely used in the treatment of insomnia. Your killer must have handled their medication before handling the knife. So our killer has insomnia. They'll certainly have a hard time sleeping now that Matthew is on their trail. And considering both the bloodletting knife and insomnia medication are items we can find at an apothecary, we should continue our investigation there, Matthew.
It took away my filter, my buffer. I'm just gonna be me, raw, and that's not good. Oh, thank God.
Catch more Talks to Fun USA weekdays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the 4-day super sale. Save 40% on paints and stains, April 21st through the 24th. Color is just around the corner. Find your neighborhood store at sherwinwilliams.com/save.
Approaching Medicare eligibility? You may think you can put off checking out your Medicare options until you're 65. But now is a good time to get the ball rolling. Keep in mind, Medicare only covers about 80% of Part B medical costs. The rest is up to you. That's where AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plans, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company, come in. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, they could help pay some of what Medicare doesn't, saving you in out-of-pocket medical costs. You've learned that taking informed steps along the way really makes a difference later. That's what it means to go long. Call now and request this free decision guide. It's full of information on Medicare and the range of AARP Medicare supplement plans to choose from based on your needs and budget. plans like these let you choose any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. And there are no network restrictions. United Healthcare Insurance Company has over 30 years experience and the commitment to roll along with you, keeping you on course. So call now.
All right.
And discover how an AARP Medicare supplement plan could go along for you. These are the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP.
Matthew, this is a treatment against insomnia. We know our killer has trouble sleeping. This could be their medicine.
9 out of 10 plan members.
Unfortunately, the prescription label on the bottom is faded. Can you work your magic on that?
Remember, Medicare.
And that leather case has a skull and crossbones on it, meaning its contents are dangerous. I trust you can crack that lock for us, Matthew.
And start gathering the information you
Moment,
need.
folks.
We love the free shipping. Treats, toys, food, in 1 to 2 days are delivered right to our doorstep.
I recommended Chewy to my neighbors and my friends because the prices are great. And they love it.
Save 20% on your favorite brands. Fast free shipping.
Okay, I'm back.
At chewy.com.
Although you probably could tell.
On horrendously cold nights. On days when the rain has been relentless. When the sun is beating.
There we go.
And the heat is unbearable. There is an animal trapped.
Matthew, this case is full of medicine vials. I wonder what could be so dangerous about all this. Crikey, you're right. That vial inside the case is marked Belladonna and is full of dark black berries. Dick told us our victim was poisoned with belladonna. We could have found the source. We must go question Miss Hayhurst at once, Matthew.
By joining the SPCA today. Please go online or call this number to help them now. With your donation,
See what she has to say. Mrs. Hayhurst, you may not have known, but Mr. Dante was poisoned with belladonna,
provide them with food.
which is what we just found in your dangerous substance case. You can't possibly think I murdered that man. Belladonna has a long history of medicinal and cosmetic uses. Its poisonous qualities are secondary. Just ask all the ladies in the brothels around here. They use it to look more seductive. Yes, in small doses. However, a large dose in the wrong hands goes far beyond looking seductive. It makes one look dead. I'm a professional. I may look old and wrinkled, but I've got my wits about me, and I would never sell or use such a substance regularly. My sincerest apologies, Senior Trooper Matthew. With the Scarlet Slayer on the loose, the whole neighborhood is terrified, and I've been suffering from a terrible bout of insomnia. I just haven't been myself lately.
Occasional constipation can be Colace is the #1
She's in the clear for now.
brand. It's been gently softening up hard cases for over 60 years. Colace. Feel the difference only softness can do.
The prescription label on the insomnia elixir bottle is marked with those strange Concordian symbols. I really wish people would stop communicating that ridiculous code, but until then, what say you solve that for us, Matthew?
Big name brands and boutique styles for the whole family. Whether it's swimsuits and beach toys for fun in the sun.
Moment once again.
So why don't you go with her, Patty?
And let's examine the symbols now.
Did you take her? Did you ask her where Mom was?
Okay. First one. 4, 2, 5. And the last one. 4, 7, 2, 9, and 6. Got them all. Just got the 8 in time. Matthew, now that we have the numbers from the insomnia elixir bottle, let us get them to Evie immediately.
Please ask a question, Patty.
12 hours. See you guys when that's done. Alright, folks, I like to think I'm getting better. So let's get the results of the numbers. Evie, were you able to... Evie, oh Evie. Matthew, I didn't hear you come in. I'm sorry, I accidentally mistook that insomnia elixir for honey and added some to my tea. I've been half asleep ever since. Well, we're going to need you awake for a few minutes so you could tell us what those numbers on the bottom of the elixir bottle refer to. Right, the numbers refer to patient records, more specifically to a file that belonged to your victim, Mr. Joseph Dante. It would appear as if Mr. Dante had a record of purchasing medication for a Mrs. Louise Perrin. Louise Perrin? Why does that name sound familiar? Louise Perrin is Gladys Perrin's mother. She's quite ill. Gladys, the girl who works at the barber shop. Why would Mr. Dante purchase medication for her mother? I suppose the only way to know is by asking her. We shall bring Gladys to the airship, Matthew. Oops. But it's out in the open anyway. Whatever. Senior Trooper Matthew, what a surprise. I wouldn't expect you to be calling on me. Wow, Gladys, you certainly changed. Quite the switch from the barbershop clothing. I know. Me mom got sick, she did, and being the barber's help just didn't pay enough. So I did what I had to do. We're very sorry to hear that, Gladys. You show a great deal of kindness. We heard about your mother. It seems Mr. Dante was paying for her medication. Joey's a nice one. He wanted to help. Instead of paying me, he goes directly to the shop and buys me Mom's medicine. That way Madame Jang can take her cut of me pay. He even buys me sulfur soap for me dermatitis, although Madame Jang keeps borrowing it from me. I'm afraid we got some bad news. Mr. Dante was murdered. Joey's dead? That's terrible. What will I do now, Senior Trooper Matthew? I've been so worried sick about me mom, I've been drinking her insomnia elixir just so I could get some shut-eye. I'll never sleep again. Matthew, the residents of Sinner's End might sleep better believing the Scarlet Slayer is no longer a threat. However, we still haven't found any concrete proof the victim was the Slayer. Not to mention that even if our victim really was the Slayer, we can't rejoice with our killer still at large. Gladys was receiving payment for her services in the form of the medication from the victim. But why kill the person who was helping her mother? And there's Tony, our victim's brother. Joseph was causing unwanted heat on the Italians, but it's hard to say whether or not the scorpion would have stung him for that. Excuse me, Matthew, you got a phone call. It's Constable Ramirez. A phone call from the constable? How curious. Constable, is everything alright? Matthew, I need your help. I'm under attack. Still kind of hacking a little bit, but I'm well enough to do these. We'll go to Chapter 3 after this. See y'all then. Alright, folks, we have come back on a criminal case for Overkill, Chapter 3. You guys ready to go? I am too. Let's do it. Matthew, the residents of Sinner's End might sleep better believing the Scarlet Slayer is no longer a threat. However, we still haven't found any concrete proof the victim was the Slayer. Not to mention that even if the Slayer is dead, we can't rejoice with their killer still at large. Excuse me, Matthew, you got a phone call. It's Constable Ramirez. A phone call from Constable Ramirez? I never received a call on the airship before. Constable, is everything alright? Matthew, save me. I'm being attacked at the park. Sweet mother of pearl. Hold on, Constable. We'll be right there. Constable Ramirez, where are you? Are you alright? Matthew, thank God you're here. I was being attacked by the ladies. Attacked? Wait, are those lipstick marks? Matthew, the ladies, they saw me here and swarmed around me like a savage mob. And then they kissed me. They couldn't stop. I was completely irresistible to them. I think it's my eau de cologne, Matthew. It just drives women wild. Although I imagine your musk does indeed drive women wild, I do believe there might have been a more pressing motive for their attack. We know how much the prostitutes loathe the Scarlet Slayer. They might have distracted you to tamper with the crime scene so his killer doesn't get caught. The fact they were sniffing around here tells me we should search the crime scene yet again, Matthew. Ruby pendant. There's the boot. Got the first star anyway. That is good news. Matthew, could this piece of jewelry be what the brothel ladies were looking for? The inscription on the back of the pendant is worn out, but if you can uncover it for us, we might find its owner. Is that a miniature-sized coffin with the Flanagan gang symbol on it, Matthew? Crikey, look inside the coffin, there's a message. Remember where your loyalties lie. We need to find the target of this threat, Matthew. Let us collect a sample of that yellow powder inside the coffin, quickly. That pile of leaves is not as thrilling as the rest, but it could hold a surprise for us. We shall dig through it, Matthew. It's a tooth. Matthew, is that a bloody tooth you found in the pile of leaves? Dick didn't mention anything about our victim missing any teeth. Matthew, I'd rather not look at this tooth any longer. Let us just send it to Dick. Perfect. Matthew, we should run this powder you collected from the miniature coffin under a microscope. We need to find out for whom that threat was intended. Pollen. Matthew, the powder you found on the miniature coffin was pollen. That pollen comes from the species of flower known as Paeonia suffruticosa, a flower that is endemic to only 3 continents, predominantly Asia. Excellent point, Matthew. Madame Jang wears that type of flower in her hair. Knowing Madame Jang works for the Flanagans, I wonder if their business relationship went sour. We need to ask her what warranted this threat. Madam Jang, we'd like to know why the Flanagans are threatening you. Great, I can't even have my lunch in peace. My mutton will go cold now. Those bullies thought they could scare me with that silly coffin. They don't know who they're dealing with. Finley didn't like that I let Joey into my brothel, but for me, business is business. I don't care if you're Irish or Italian. Except Joey couldn't keep his mouth shut about coming here, and Finley got angry. So you decided to take care of that problem? I'm in the business of ladies, not murder. Now, Senior Trooper Matthew, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to my lunch. Mutton is never good congealed. Matthew, did you notice Madame Zhang's dark circles under her eyes? It looks like she hasn't slept in days. I agree. I suppose that means you can add insomnia to Madame Zhang's case file. Matthew, the inscription on the pendant reads, Gladys, your heart is mine, and it's from our victim. Sounds like Mr. Dante was more than just a customer of Gladys, and a rather possessive one at that. Matthew, let us have another word with Gladys and inquire about her relationship with Mr. Dante. See what she has to say. Miss Perrin, you didn't tell us you were romantically involved with Mr. Dante. Oi, you found that necklace, didn't you? Joey liked buying me things, giving me flowers, and taking me out to mutton dinners. He thought we were dating, but we weren't. They're always like that, the men. They think there's more and then get furious when they realize they're just clients. Mr. Dante's message on the pendant was quite possessive. Did he ever get violent with you? Sometimes. He got really angry when I wouldn't accept that necklace. At least now that he's gone, he won't threaten no one no more, Senior Trooper Matthew. I'll let the truth run its course. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we've come back. Starting to feel better. Let's get the results of the tooth. Dick, I know it's a bit unusual to send you body parts instead of bodies, but we figured you'd be our best bet for analyzing the tooth we found in the leaves. I appreciate being able to help you further in this investigation. One does get lonely being around corpses all day long. So the tooth. First, I looked up any available dental records in Concordia. What you have here is a number 19 tooth or molar of one of your suspects, Amon Gilligan. We know he's a feisty one. Did Amon Gilligan also get into a physical altercation with our victim? Shrewd deduction, Madeline, especially since the victim had bruises on his face. That brings me to the second point. I found traces of sulfur soap on the tooth. Something we know the killer uses. People often use it as toothpaste. Brilliant. So Mr. Gilligan uses sulfur soap. That gives us two good reasons to go talk to him again, Matthew. Not the fight he had with the victim. Mr. Gilligan, care to tell us why we found your bloody tooth at the murder scene? Perhaps it was from an altercation you had with our victim, a violent one, I suppose. I fought that greasy Italian. I did, but he jumped me, knocked me tooth straight out of me mouth. So Mr. Dante attacked you. Was it because you were trying to kill him? Nah, I wasn't, but I wish I had killed him. That goon was the Scarlet Slayer. He deserved it for what he'd done to our girls. And you are certain he was the Slayer? I'm sure of it. I caught Dante trawling Madame Zhang's place, and it got me suspicious, so I started following him. I followed him for days, barely slept. It's a good thing I've got insomnia. But I was getting close to discovering the truth when Dante found out and attacked me. Well, Mr. Gilligan, you won't see us coming either if you're guilty of murdering Mr. Dante. Matthew, the investigation into Mr. Dante's murder has certainly demonstrated the escalating tensions between the Irish and the Italians. We're not certain yet if our victim was really the Scarlet Slayer. We're not certain yet if our victim really was the Scarlet Slayer. But we do know that Mr. Dante's penchant for the Irish ladies was not looked upon kindly. But where do we go from here? First-rate thinking, Matthew. We know the killer attacked our victim in the public toilets. We must go there to hunt around for any remaining clues.
The hardest part for me was explaining to my Kirsten the difference between boys and girls. I knew the time had come, but I kept putting it off. Finally, I decided it was time to take the bull by the horns. So you told? No, I took the bull by the horns, turned him around, and showed her what makes a bull a bull.
You are kidding.
No, that's how my mother taught me. Honey, didn't that give you a false impression about what a man would look like? It sure did. Can you imagine my surprise on my wedding?
All right.
Boy, that bull would have been jealous.
Rose, quite frankly, I don't get it. What is this hole that Buzz has over
All right.
Oh, I know exactly what she's going through, Dorothy. First love can be very
Knife case.
powerful. I felt the same way about Haywood Boyle, the starting pitcher on our high school baseball team. That boy had exceptional control.
Got it.
He was always up for extra innings.
Okay.
And his delivery, oh,
Matthew, that's a bar of sulfur soap, but the foam on it is pink. Could the killer have washed their hands of the victim's blood with this particular bar? We need to get a sample of that foam immediately. And this is definitely where the killer kept the knife they used to stab the victim. Just look at the diagram inside. There's a stain on the case. Let us swiftly get a sample of it, Matthew. Alright, here we go. Matthew, now that we have a sample of the sulfur soap foam, we must send it to Viola post-haste. It's 9 hours. And I know that this knife case is going to be the 15-hour one.
Rose, do you think you could wrap this up before Rebecca goes into labor?
And there was the day of the week when everybody came to town dressed as sandwiches. Charlie and I forgot to put cheese between us, and before I knew it, there was Kirsten.
Matthew, let us swiftly send that sample you just obtained from the knife case to Viola. See you guys when these two are done. Okay, folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the soap sample. Matthew, as I've said before, Charlie and Dick's DNA machine is just extraordinary. You're quite enthusiastic, Viola. Is this about the sample we sent you from the sulfur soap bar Matthew found? Was the pink color caused by blood? It most certainly was. Your victim's blood, to be exact. Which confirms your killer washed their hands with this soap. And there's more. I ran the sample through the DNA machine and it detected the presence of human skin cells in it. And from those skin cells, the machine determined your killer's gender. A spectacular accomplishment. Your killer is female. Amazing. Matthew, thanks to the revelations of science, we know we're searching for a femme fatale.
And no high fructose corn syrup or GMO. Toll mixations. Mix in imagination.
Clearasil Rapid Action begins working fast for clearly visible results in as little as 12 hours.
Matthew, did you know the color red is associated with force, passion, and heat? Has this information something to do with our victim possibly being the Scarlet Slayer? Not exactly, but it is a crucial clue in your current investigation. Surprisingly, the stain sample you collected from the knife case isn't blood. It's clothing dye. More specifically, the dye on the case is deep red, a red color with a tinge of orange. So the knife case is covered in deep red clothing dye? Yes, the deep red dye was most likely transferred after the killer's clothing became wet, leaching the dye onto the case. Matthew, our victim may have been the Scarlet Slayer, but our killer's garments will be an even deeper red. Matthew, we may not know if our victim really was the Scarlet Slayer, but we're about to know exactly who killed him. Now let us go catch him deep red-handed.
Someone who is identified as Guido.
World's Fair. Have your picture taken with a Guido.
Ma, you were married to somebody else. I have a right to know about it.
Wrong.
It's Madame Jang.
You're always sticking your nose in where it doesn't belong. Just like that old dog Sally we used to have. God, your father left that door.
Can you believe that? After I bared my heart and soul...
Madame Jang, you're under arrest for the murder of Joseph Bones Dante. I was under the impression you tolerated his patronage. Why kill him? Mr. Dante was a common thug who kept getting me into trouble. But I wouldn't waste my time on him. Is that so? Then why do we find your deep red clothing dye all over the knife case? That same deep color that you wear. There is no justice in this persecution. You just don't want to help my girls because they are ladies of ill repute. So you throw unfounded allegations at me. These allegations wouldn't be made if they weren't based on evidence, like finding Mr. Dante's blood on your bloodletting knife, the same knife you dipped in poison and stabbed him with. Senior Trooper Matthew, you accuse me of killing Mr. Dante while the Scarlet Slayer is still at large. Where are your priorities? But the Slayer isn't at large. You took care of that. You even left a note on his body gloating the Scarlet Slayer was dead. What we're really curious about is what made you so sure it was him. I did what none of you could. I put the pieces together. After a few girls vanished, I started checking who they had as clients and what they had done before they disappeared. Each girl on my list had spent the night with Mr. Dante before she disappeared, and they were booked with him that following day as well. He was always the last person to see them. There's no such thing as a coincidence. He murdered them all. If you had the proof, why didn't you come to us? I tried, but you did nothing. Your disregard for the safety of my girls forced me to act. I had no choice, so I took care of the Slayer myself. Madame Jang, taking one life even to save many will never be anything we can condone. Therefore, you're under arrest for the murder of Mr. Joseph Dante. Madame Jang, you're charged with the murder of Mr. Joseph Bones Dante. How do you plead? He wasn't just Joseph Dante, he was also the Scarlet Slayer. and of that murder I am guilty as charged. I had to protect my doves because no one else did. They might be considered outcasts, but they had the right to be safe just like every other citizen in Concordia. Madam Jang, I looked into the case and do believe that your conclusions are flawless. But vigilantism cannot be condoned as an accepted replacement for established law and order. So it is with the preservation of our functioning societal order in mind that I sentence you to 7 years in prison.
It's about time.
Send me wherever you like. At least my doves are free of terror. It seems the Scarlet Slayer's reign of terror is truly over, Matthew. It would have been nice if we could have gotten him ourselves, but at least he's off the streets for good. It's bittersweet for Madame Jang. She believes she was doing what was necessary to protect the ladies of Sinner's Inn. I do hope for her sake she finds respite in her courage despite the punishment. And now that we're certain the affair with the Scarlet Slayer is complete, we can focus our efforts on abolishing the rampant crime committed by the Irish and Italian gangs. They've been looking for war, they say, but what they don't know is that the war won't be against each other. It'll be with us. Onward we go, Matthew.
Come on, you can do it.
Dogs just won't quit. Neither does Frontline. That's why there's Frontline Gold. With its easy applicator, Frontline Gold delivers powerful protection that doesn't quit for a full 30 days. Its triple action formula is relentless at killing fleas and ticks. Frontline Gold, the latest innovation from the maker of Frontline Plus. For persistent
taking a look at the other ones. Tony the Scorpion, no insomnia, he was cleared. Amon Gilligan, not a male. Gladys Perrin, no red. Theodosia Hayhurst, she was cleared from the start. It was Madame Jang. I'll see you guys for Hook by Hook or by Crook 4-6. Alright folks, wanted to show you quickly my cards first before we start by Hook or by Crook 4-6. Matthew, the women of Sinner's Inn can rest knowing the Scarlet Slayer is dead. I would have rather we caught him ourselves without shedding blood. Now perhaps we should... Madeline, there you are. Chief Wright told me I might find you here. Mother, what are you doing here? My child, I must have a word with you immediately. Very well. But whatever it is, Senior Trooper Matthew can stay. After all, we're partners, and partners tell each other everything. Mother, what is so urgent that you needed to tell me at work? Madeline, darling, I've met the most wonderful man for you at the apothecary. He was dropping off an order for medicines. He's a doctor. Mother, I've told you before, I don't need your help finding a suitor. I've got a career. Oh, darling, let us not fool ourselves. This little police hobby of yours cannot go on eternally. You must settle down like every respectable woman should.
Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
And besides, it's too late for objections. I've arranged for your engagement with this doctor. What? An engagement? Mother, you didn't. I did. I couldn't let a man like that go to waste. I told him we'd meet with him this evening, so don't be late. And do find something a little more suitable to wear. Matthew, this is a nightmare. There's absolutely no way I can marry that man. I don't even know him. What am I going to do? I must get out of this. You're right, Matthew. My mother said she met this man at the apothecary. Perhaps there's something there I could use to get out of this horrible predicament. Excuse me, Senior Trooper Matthew. I'm sorry to intrude, but the nice woman with the rat told me where I could find you. Miss Perrin, are you okay? I am, but I don't think my friend is. Caitlin from down at the brothel's gone missing. I've looked everywhere, but I can't find her. I'm sure she's okay, but when was the last time you saw her? she's gone missing an hour ago. Last I saw her, she were headed for the park. I went to join her, but when I got there, she was gone.
But it will when she comes back in late.
Please help me find her, Senior Trooper Matthew.
Very cool lady there. And speaking of
Matthew,
cool
we need to
people,
investigate
comedian
this,
Trevor Noah
but I've got
is
that
adding
thing
a
with my
second
mother to
Maui
deal with.
show during his upcoming
Perhaps
show.
Bontemps could help you
8 p.m.
search the
show
park.
at the Maui Arts
I'll
and
be at the
Cultural Center
apothecary
on May
probing for
25th.
details on my
Is
potential
sold out,
husband,
so 10 p.m.
but I could
show
use the
was
support.
added. Tickets for the second Maui performance go on sale Monday.
It's a done deal.
Alright.
It's a happy customer. It's what powers your business. And since Oceanic Time Warner Cable Business Class
Let's get to the park bridge first.
faster internet for the price. The Spectrum Business Internet is the fastest internet for the price. 3 times faster than Verizon Telecom. So close more deals, keep more customers, make more money. Switching is easy. Call 643-0060.
You get used to food odors in your car. You think it smells fine, but your passengers smell this. New Febreze car with odor clear technology cleans away odors for up to 30 days.
Smells nice.
Breathe happy with new Febreze.
Just Head and Shoulders. I thought it was just for like dandruff.
New Head and Shoulders cleans, protects, and moisturizes to get up to 100% flake-free and unbelievably beautiful hair. It's not Head and Shoulders. It's the new Head and Shoulders.
Hawaii residents depend on home sharing to
There we
make
are.
ends meet. But the state system to collect tourist taxes from home sharing is outdated and inefficient. Airbnb wants to help. If the state will allow it, platforms like Airbnb could collect tourist taxes on bookings.
Matthew, what's that handkerchief you found? The word help is written in blood on it. This doesn't bode well for a missing girl. Matthew, can you get a sample of that blood for us?
The future of implant therapy is here today. At PerioCare, Dr. Braden Siemens utilizes the most advanced
Of course, I
technology
am trying to
available
get better.
perform
I'm getting
periodontal
there.
and implant therapy. Have that smile you've always wanted. Replace missing teeth with titanium, metal-free implants. We provide several options to meet each patient's specific needs. We employ state-of-the-art 3D imaging for optimal diagnosis and outcome.
Call PerioCare and experience the future of implant therapy today.
Aha. Matthew, with the Scarlet Slayer dead, I didn't expect we'd find such a grisly omen. We better get the blood sample from the handkerchief to Viola promptly.
Gentleness and respect. Personal care you can depend on, whether it's in your home or ours. We're Wilson Home Care and Senior Living.
I'm Overkill.
I'm Paula Akana. Join us weeknights for Island News
At 6 and 10.
There's a tranquil end to the day here on Oahu. Take a look at this evening's time-lapse video of the sun going down. A little color to the sky thanks to a few passing high clouds. And once again, quiet conditions as the night begins. As we take a look at some of the cloud cover again, more high clouds over the southern end of the island chain.
will
winds helping to bring these high clouds.
Madeline have a match made in heaven?
Out for tomorrow, but we may start off our Monday morning with a few more high clouds, which could mean very colorful sunrise, especially for those southern islands. We did see blue skies across Oahu today. This is the view of East Oahu from high above the Footwell Mountains.
There we go.
Beautiful view with blue skies throughout the day. That helped to warm things up. All the sunshine for many leeward spots. Very little rainfall, mostly for windward sections and Malca areas here.
Aha!
A bit more of the rainfall over the past day for Kauai, and still some
All the way up to
showers
first.
there along the southern side of the Garden Isle. As we take a look at the forecast for tomorrow, we'll start things off with a few more clouds for Kauai to begin the day, along with the high clouds at the southern end of the state. A few light trade showers for windward.
Matthew, if we don't find something here, I'll be engaged by day's end.
Temperature is expected to warm up.
That crate is full of medicine. My mother did say the man was a doctor and that he was filling an order for supplies. You're right, this could be his. Let's search through it.
Winds at 10 to 30 miles an hour, helping to keep us cool. We'll also have more fun-sized surf in the forecast. This the view from our southern shores. We'll head over to Point Panic, catch a lucky ride on with the long border there along Oahu's south shore. Waves for tomorrow in the 2 to 4 foot range. Biggest surf only at 4 to 6 feet for our northern shores. We will see a few bigger waves As a small bump for our Northwestern shows coming up on Monday and Wednesday.
Matthew, this classified advertising you pulled from the medicine crate was placed by a doctor. This must be the man my mother mentioned. He's seeking a young housewife who can cook, clean, and sew, and be fond of silence. Matthew, this can't be. I must know who this man is, but the name on the bottom is blurry with the coffee stain. Perhaps you can make out what it says?
Thanks to southerly winds and more unstable atmosphere as we head into next weekend.
Paul, thank you. Well, Hawaii held its first overnight Ragnar relay race this weekend. The race began Friday at 10 a.m. at Oahu's Turtle Bay Resort. More than 900 runners competed on the Loop Forest and Coastline trails. The last team members finished the race on Saturday at 6 p.m.
A. Wharton.
120. Every participant ran a distance that
Thank you, Matthew. You recovered the doctor's name on the classified ad. Dr. A. Wharton.
3 miles.
I need to know everything about this Dr. Wharton if I want to find my way out of this engagement. Great thinking, Matthew. Lady Highmore knows everything about everybody in Concordia. We should call on her immediately.
Yeah, you were sky high tonight.
Yep, that's right. It has everything to do with the way that the Rainbow Warriors.
She knows anything about Maddie's suitor? Lady Highmore, thank you for seeing us. You've got a rather pressing matter. It's a pleasure, my dear. Now tell, what can I help you with? Much against my wishes, my mother has betrothed me to a doctor I know nothing about except that his name is A. Wharton. Ah, yes, Dr. Arnold Wharton. He's quite the wealthy man. Although I say he's a bit on the older side for you, being that he's in his late 60s. Dr. Wharton lost his wife a few years ago. Tragic accident. Ever since then, he's been looking for someone to replace her. Replace her? Lady Highmore, is there anything I could do to get out of this? Well, my dear, knowing your mother, the only way she'll forget about this is if you can convince her you're already betrothed. Lady Highmore, that's a brilliant idea, and I know just the right person who can help. I'm glad to hear it. Don't forget to make yourself look good for your rendezvous today. Godspeed.
Nathan and his staff at Pro-Am Golf Shop provide superior golfing equipment. Red Shop owner Christopher Side makes daily fresh craft delicacies. Jason, Joe, and Lisa.
Matthew, Lady Highmore's right. I need to find a fake suitor in order to escape my betrothment to that doctor. I just hope Charlie won't mind helping me out. Ooh. Maddie, I was told you wanted to see me? Charlie, I need your help. The rest of my life depends on it. My word, Maddie, that sounds dire. I'll do whatever you need. Wonderful, Charlie. Now, all we need is to convince my mother we're engaged. Okay. Come with me, my mother's waiting for us, and we still need to get changed. Matthew, I hope you're coming too.
Central Pacific Bank, equal housing lender.
Mazda, crafted for the perfect drive, like a 2016.5 Mazda.
Madeline, lovely of you to arrive on time and looking like a lady. Dr. Wharton will be pleased. The pleasure's all mine, Mother, but before we meet this wonderful doctor, I'd like to introduce you to someone. Mother, meet my fiancé, Charles. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. O'Malley. Madeline has spoken so much about you. You're as ravishing as I imagined. Your fiancé? I don't understand. Charles has been courting me for quite some time, but it wasn't until yesterday that he proposed. See? Now you can understand why I cannot possibly marry Dr. Wharton. But I appreciate your efforts, Mother, and now Charles and I are off to shop for china patterns. The invitation's in the mail. But Charlie, thank you so much for your help. Your idea of wearing that fake engagement ring was perfect. I'm happy I could help. That's actually my grandmother's ring. I figured your mother would like it. Oh, Charlie, then you should have it back. That's all right, Maddie. You can keep it. My grandmother would approve. Ooh. You're a wonderful man, Charles DuPont. Oh boy. I'll let the blood run its course. See y'all then. Alright folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the blood. Matthew, it's a good thing Madame Jang made certain her workers underwent regular blood tests to check for maladies. Because thanks to that, I was able to find a match for the blood on the handkerchief. It's that of a certain Caitlin. This is the missing woman Miss Perrin mentioned. Botheration. A lady of the night has gone missing, and the only clue she's left us is her handkerchief on which she wrote a plea for help in her own blood. But the Slayer's been killed. How can this happen? That's what we need to determine. Madame Jang was certain she had killed the Slayer. I agree, Matthew. We must go speak with her now.
Gearing up for a busy week on Capitol Hill. That's next on KITV Island News. It's sick tonight. President Donald Trump facing a possible government...
Senior Trooper Matthew, I don't know why you're here. I got nothing more to offer you. Actually, Madame Jang, you've got information we need.
100% original, 100% local.
One of your girls has gone missing, a woman by the name of Caitlin. We found her handkerchief in the park. She'd written the word help on it in her own blood. Caitlin's been taken? How is this possible? The Scarlet Slayer is dead. I killed him. I know it was him. I tracked him. Every place a girl went missing, Joey had been there just a few hours before. Do you know where he would have struck that next had you not killed him? The public toilets. It's why I murdered him there, to beat him at his own game. Matthew, if the Slayer is still alive, they could be planning on murdering Caitlin in the toilets just as Madame Jang predicted. We must go there immediately. Senior Trooper Matthew, please find Caitlin and take my prison food for energy.
I lost my husband 5 years ago. This is when I made my decision to get into home sharing. Airbnb for this opportunity to people like me. They can share their homes with visitors. It helps because the cost of living is so high here. It gives me an opportunity to keep myself active as a senior. The extra income is very important to me. You know, I just think Airbnb is a great thing.
Atlas Construction. Home at last. It is possible to have the perfect home for your Ohana. Learn how this fourth-generation, award-winning licensed contractor can help by attending this week's free #1 building seminar or Contractors Open House.
When you look at the Mercedes-Benz GLC, with its high-tech cameras and rating, contemporary cockpit,
There we go.
technologies, and sport performance.
Blood and thunder! Matthew, we've arrived too late. That woman is dead. This woman must be Caitlin, Gladys's missing friend. Matthew, I fear we must face the truth. The brutality of this murder is proof the Scarlet Slayer is still alive. I agree, we must urgently get her remains to Dick.
Sponsored by Hospice Hawaii. It's not about helping you in death. It's about helping you in life.
6 hours only. I'll see you guys when this is done. Okay, folks, we have come back. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. For 2. Matthew, seeing you 3 times during the same investigation is pleasant, yet highly unusual. I understand you believe this victim fell prey to the Scarlet Slayer? Since I never come across one of the Slayer's victims, I called upon an expert on the subject, Catherine Wolfe. Senior Trooper Matthew, this girl shows the exact same wounds as the previous victims. The Slayer always strips off their clothes and disembowels them. So this is the work of the Scarlet Slayer. That means that Madame Jang murdered an innocent person and the Scarlet Slayer is still roaming the streets. These are calamitous developments. There's something else. The Slayer has left behind a calling card. Inside the victim's abdomen, I found this, a white dove feather. That's new. I never found one before. But then again, I never looked that deeply. It's a well-known fact prostitutes are called soiled doves. Clearly there's a message there. How horrid. We must inform Miss Perrin of Caitlin's fate and warn her about the Slayer. We need to. And once again, there will be no case that I'll do in Elite Mode. Plus, I'm still trying to get over being sick. Miss Perrin, we found Caitlin, but I'm afraid to say the Scarlet Slayer got to her before we could. What? That's not possible. Madame Jang killed him. We thought we were finally safe, and you're telling me girls are still getting killed? Miss Perrin, you must warn every worker in Sinner's End the Scarlet Slayer is still at large. I will, but please, Senior Trooper Matthew, you must catch the Slayer before we're all dead. Take this to help. It's all the money I've made. Well, Matthew, thanks to Charlie, I don't think my mother will set up another engagement for me anytime soon. But I heard the news. The Scarlet Slayer is still alive. I'm afraid so. Another woman suffered at the hands of that heinous murderer as they disemboweled her with bitter cruelty. Madame Jang will be heartbroken. She was right about everything, just not about the person. We can take solace in the fact that the Slayer left behind a clue, a dove feather. Perhaps this will be the key to leading us to their capture. Matthew, the Scarlet Slayer is still at large. We must do everything we can to bring them to justice and keep the ladies of Sinner's End safe once and for all. Of course, luckily I got myself well over the threshold of 110. And as you can see, I'm in the 6 figures with my energy. Even though I don't have as big an inventory of energy as Ace does. April 27th is when this. So that's in the next 2 days because it's already just made midnight here. About 12 minutes ago. And the last one. Fresh 5. Of course, I am getting better. I've been doing everything possible. Kind of been loading up on big gun amounts of medicine just to feel better. There we go. So that's going to conclude Overkill. Got myself up to rank number 3 thanks to the mountain goat helping me out in scene number 2. And in the meantime, I'll see you guys on April 27th.